Let's podcast alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovias inside Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh. Thanks to Empire Properties and thanks to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. Save some money on print management, document management. Get your stuff to the cloud, okay? And that's where you can save some money. It all starts with a visit to copiers-plus.com. I got a lot, Joe. Dragging a little bit. I'm going to blame the white Zin, the $2 Chuck or the $4 Chuck white Zin I drank from a beer stick.
How many glasses do you think that was?
I mean, I think it's 22 ounces.
You
I mean, I've drank an entire bottle of wine before.
You did like a wine bong?
Yeah, out of the beer stick.
Out of the beer stick.
Yeah. Although I was feeling...
Did you sip it or did
No,
you...
I tried. I'll show it to you later. We'll do that in Hey Joe because I there was an amusing response we'll get to in Hey Joe.
Okay.
But I was feeling fine. I can't say the same for some of the people I saw on Fayetteville Street last night when I came back up to the studio to do a little crank arm after dark. Some like apartment managers convention taking place. I think, I don't know, some sort of group. And you know, the lanyards were all out. That's how you know it's official.
Okay.
People wearing lanyards at midnight, so you know it's a party. Kind of reminded me of a little ACC hospitality action, right?
On a Tuesday.
On a freaking Tuesday, it was going up. You thought it was going up at PNC Arena. Oh, no. It was going up at the Apartment Managers of America convention taking place in downtown Raleigh.
Get him in here,
man! Bring
him out.
I almost wanted to take the remote equipment and post up at one of the hotel lobbies to see how people were feeling this morning. My goodness! But I'm sure there's some Canes fans that are feeling the same way after they get past the Islanders last night. We got into it in depth with Luke DeCock of the News and Observer and Mike Maniscalco of Bally Sports on an After Dark last night. That's available for you on YouTube and on the podcast.
The Crank Arm. After Dark.
They're also going to bring you Hey Joe. Any additional thoughts you'd like to add to what we saw last night? I think we all agreed that it was a little bit harder than people anticipated going into it, but I think that's a credit to the Islanders and us dismissing just how good or how feisty the Islanders have been under Patrick Roy.
Yeah, second period from the Islanders, you just have to tip your hat. Kind of like you did in the first game when they played really well and came out on the wrong end of it. In the second game where they were in this building, you know, they're probably sitting here thinking they probably should have won all three of these games here in Raleigh. But that's, you know, ifs and buts and candies or nuts, and that's not really how hockey works. I will say I would caution against people who are like, hey, Canes really struggled with the Islanders, man. They got no chance against the Rangers. Sorry, getting my tri-state teams confused. There's really nothing that happens in between series. The matchup resets, and the fact that it's Peter Laviolette. I mean, I need you to give me all the Star Wars Laviolette mentor, Padawan. I forget what they are. You have a Padawan learner, and what's the guy who's the teacher called?
Well, no, there's the Jedi.
Jedi.
He's the top guy.
Okay,
and then he brings on a Padawan.
And
then they teach them.
So Laviolette is Qui-Gon.
Yeah,
and Brenda Moore is Obi-Wan.
Well, then who's Darth Maul? Who's gonna gut Qui-Gon?
We'll have to see.
I mean,
we'll have to see.
That did happen at some point. Of course, Qui-Gon goes to like
there's Justin Williams and factoring in there somewhere too.
I don't know.
But you know,
I don't know. Well,
the new Justin Williams, Seth Jarvis.
Well, it's interesting
having some kind of playoffs.
It's interesting you mentioned
all in the process of increasing the value of the mixtape. So,
yeah, that's true.
As Ken likes to keep pointing out to me, you might need to start charging more for those raffle tickets if Seth Jarvis is going to be over here getting 3-point nights in the playoffs at 23 years old. And I sent you the picture. Pop that thing up, will you?
I don't have it.
He had the Harvard shirt on.
Hold on a second. I mean,
I think he's in full. I think he wears that now under.
Yeah, he wears it all the time.
In order to be good luck.
Yeah, no, it's a good luck thing. I'm showing it on the YouTube on my phone since you had taken that picture last night in the locker room.
Yeah, we're in the locker room. You're not allowed to talk to people in the locker room. In an open fucking locker room, you're not allowed to talk to people.
What do you mean?
Because he was going to the podium.
Oh.
So there's like all kinds of protocols and bullshit that happens. Yeah, well. And so he's walking by and I'm just like, Jarvie, I need a picture of the shirt. He's like, oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, if I know there is this is like,
and not it's I want to say
on the list of things that are necessary for the PNC Arena renovations that are on deck, but they do have to come up with a better way for people to get in and out of the locker room without having to go back out across the stands and then back into a tunnel because of a lounge.
In the games, you're allowed to walk by the lounge, but
okay,
I want to clarify there. It's not necessarily the Hurricanes; it's the NHL. They have a post game setup, and once they get into the conference finals, it's really all the NHL. So I'm not bagging on the Hurricanes. It's more of a oh man, remember 20 years ago when you could just talk to whoever you want? No, it's not 20 years ago anymore, though. No, it's not how it works.
No. Speaking of the post game, Rod Brindamore addressed the media, and you brought up Peter Laviolette, the Star Wars stuff, and the family ties, or all the connections and everything else. And there was a moment last night with the, I think it was the Steph Nason goal that happened 8 seconds after the Jack Drury goal that opened things up.
The actual Harvard grad.
The actual Harvard grad.
Alum, anyway.
But anyway, the thing that I immediately took away from that was, man, I've seen this in this building before. My first thought was, Ty Conklin and Edmonton, game one,
Stanley Cup Finals.
And I mean, I yelled that at Luke. Luke brought that to Brindamore after the game, and Brindamore, this is audio only, but you can tell the grin, the smirk, the chuckle from Brindamore with the reference.
Rod, number one, did the Nason goal remind you of anything?
No.
Number two, you guys have won a playoff run in 6 straight years, basically every year that you've been coach, which no one's done in 24 years. What does that mean to you? And is that part of setting a standard and building something that's enduring?
Well, it's something to look back on maybe in the future and think, oh, that was pretty good. We're in it right now, and that's just means nothing. We're and it's hard because the expectation here is, we're not done. But it's hard to win a playoff round. I mean, sometimes you forget that, and sometimes the way it was being talked about, oh, you guys are, not doing that well. We're up 3 games to 1. But that's because of the group we have and the expectations we have. And so, I'm proud of the group because that's a good accomplishment. But obviously, it's not, what we're shooting for.
Rod, just looking ahead at the Rangers, just how formidable opponent is that? And do you feel better equipped this season? Just you got Svech back, you get Gensel and Kuznetsov. It just seems like your depth is coming through, and now you got all this star power.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have Svech. I mean, that's obviously a big factor we were missing last year. But we do have injuries, like I mentioned. So, I mean, the Rangers are the best team in the league, right? So it's. We know what they are all about. And we get just immense talent and coach really well, and good goaltending. What don't they have? So we know it's going to be a tough matchup, but it would be anywhere. You're in the down to getting into the final 8 or whatever. They're all going to be tough.
Again, that was Rod Brindamore following the game last night. Now we just wait to see when this series will start. I did it again. I thought I would have this thing down by now.
I still don't know why you have to hit 5 different buttons to play one thing.
Well, because
you'll have to school me on that another day.
The reason why on the Roadcaster is that I have no organizational
it's not your strength
technique to this.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not Rand, but just saying. But no, the problem with the Roadcaster, because I was testing the audio levels earlier.
Ouch, he's not here to defend
I saw
himself.
him yesterday. And maybe if he actually got stuff back to us on time, he wouldn't catch us straight from time to time.
Let's take a break. Let's take a hockey break. Brought to you by Happy and Hill.
We appreciate that from Rand.
Nice.
The young Wonder Bread. But head on over to Happy and Hail. This is you're in it for the long game. This is the long haul. You gotta take care of yourself. Power back with a smoothie.
Oh, the Allman Brothers.
Yeah, man. Get the green smoothie.
Back where it all began.
Detoxify yourself, man. That's what you need. That's where you got to go. Or just eat clean. Head on over to Happy and Hail. Location over in North Hills. That's my home base. One on Six Forks. Obviously, you get that location. Section 123 at the arena. Heard from a listener yesterday that it was like, yeah, man, there was a huge line to get the Burnsy
for a reason.
Yes.
It's delicious.
It's absolutely delicious.
Premium ingredients, really good stuff. Doesn't weigh you down. Does fill you up, though. I will say that. I went to lunch there twice this week.
Good for you.
Yeah, two different orders too now. Which I still have to get the Bueno Bowl.
You got that Poke Bowl.
Hey, Mario.
You got that poke. You got that yum sauce.
You're in the wrong castle, huh?
So anyway, thanks to Happy and Hail for jumping on board as one of our corporate champions. Now, to Brindamore's point about the Rangers, and to your point about
there's a little fiddle there.
Yeah, they're the best team.
They
are. And you know what? That's exactly what they want. Like, hey, they're the team with all the pressure. They're the President's Trophy winner. Hey, man, that's the dumb psychology that these guys get into. That's what it's all about. And if that's how they want to position themselves,
Yeah.
they're the ones that have to get to they're the ones with the pressure, all that stuff. So be it. Because the Rangers are loaded, man. I mean, let's not. The Islanders were scrappy is almost making it sound condescending. But we understood there was a talent difference between the Canes and the Islanders. As one of our listeners on the YouTube chat pointed out last night, the Islanders were essentially great value Carolina Hurricanes.
Mm-hmm.
The Rangers are different. The Rangers are the type of team that have given the Carolina Hurricanes in this run problems. Top heavy, supreme talent, with guys that step up.
Power play.
And
Power play.
They got a legit goalie that'll give them problems as well.
Yeah.
I think
He's
Shesterkin is good.
He's good.
So now the question is, given injury on the defensive end aside, because we have to get updates on Tony DeAngelo. We don't know what's going on with Brett Pesce, but you heard Brendan Moore reference Andrei Svechnikov. You talked to Kuznetsov last night. Jake Gensel is going to step up. Sebastian Aho, while he had a decent series,
can you put Jarvie back with them, please?
And you have Seth Jarvis, who's been on a heater, right? So this is also different for the Carolina Hurricanes because offensively, they've got the guys they've been wanting to step up. This is the series that'll truly test it. This is what is what Don Waddell put together in the offseason and made the move to get. I think Kuznetsov was actually the steal of this entire trade deadline with the way he has stepped up for the Carolina Hurricanes. Mm-hmm. Now you're in the great game now with the Rangers. That is ultimately my point. And I don't know what to expect out of the Canes in this situation.
It's interesting. I find myself being the asshole here.
Okay.
In that the Hurricanes did not win a playoff series in the bubble. They won a preliminary round. So to pick nits with Luke.
I'm with Luke on this one. It happened in the bubble. It was all set up. It was a multi-game series. Give it to me. It's fine.
Right. But the NHL is the one that makes a distinction. I'm just saying, I find myself being the asshole. I bring this up.
That's big ACC tournament versus ACC regular season energy coming from you, but it's all good.
I bring this up for a specific reason.
Okay.
When the Hurricanes, and this is where I want to see the stars written, we're looking for the Darth Maul, potentially, you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
How does the name Alexis Lafreniere sound to you? How does that sound to you, sir?
That sounds like a guy who just opened up Raleigh's first Michelin-rated restaurant.
Well, this is a name that should be familiar to you because remember, this is the reason why it wasn't the playoffs, and this is how you know it wasn't the playoffs.
This is not ringing a bell.
When the Hurricanes beat the Rangers in the bubble, the Rangers were then eliminated from making the playoffs.
That's right.
They then entered the lottery. They then won the lottery.
Right.
And with the number 1 overall pick, they took Lafreniere.
That's right.
Who had 4 assists and no goals in the first round of the playoffs. So also had an outstanding season this year, 22 years old, 28 goals this year. So if you're looking for the Darth Maul, if you're looking for the butterfly, if you're looking for the inception moment, if they fall ass backwards into the number 1 overall pick,
right,
and he is the one who vanquishes you. So yes, that's how I know it wasn't the playoffs.
I see where you're cooking your storylines.
Totally, you got to have all the storylines, man.
I get it.
Got to have them all. And the President's Trophy. I mean, Mascalco's dismissing me. I'll tell you where the pressure is for real for the Rangers.
They have it. Yeah.
I'm going to tell you where it is because obviously the Hurricanes are the better team. If you look at regulation wins, if you really want me to get nerdy on you, first of all, better goal differential Hurricanes, more regulation wins the Hurricanes. Okay. Vegas has also, under the famous Tom Dundon quota, which I wish you would pull at some point in our lives, our odds by my odds, right? The Rangers have the pressure because here comes Mark Messier into the studio. Here comes everybody in the ESPN and TNT thing, Gretzky talking about the Rangers. They're not going to just square this now. If you're a Hurricanes fan, they're not going to talk about you.
No.
Okay. They're not going to.
If you thought it was bad for the Islanders, who are, as you put it, the NC State of the tri-state area, what do you think it's going to be like when they we've already seen it with the Rangers.
Just square it now.
We've already seen this.
So that's where the pressure is for the Rangers.
Sure.
Not necessarily, how other people will, like there's not this larger scope. As I like to tell you, hockey is a niche sport. Even within a niche in New York, particularly if the Knicks are still playing, which they are
for now.
So I do think there is a pressure aspect. Pressure is real, as we've seen here in the Triangle in different years, and expectations and pressure is real. And the truth of the matter is, with Peter Laviolette, if you don't win in his first year, you're probably not going to win. So there's a little bit of pressure there as well. If you'd like a little bit of a deeper cut,
feels like 06, Joe. You know how I know it feels like 06? You talk about signs, little storylines, little reminders. Where did you
find these?
Got a stack of these bad boys. This is from 2006, because remember, 850 The Buzz did not have the Carolina Hurricanes rights in 2009. That was a 2 stations, 1 cup year, which that's another story for another day. But yeah, these are these old 850 The Buzz bumper stickers. If you go to the Cary Iceplex, the Cary Ice House, you'll see one of these stickers still on the DJ booth. It's been there for damn near 20 some odd years at this point, because these bumper stickers, I think, also came from 2002. So this is either from 02 or 06.
You want to give one of those away in the raffle?
Absolutely. I got a stack of these bad boys.
Okay.
So you want to say it feels like 2006. Bob Wage, who was one of the OG Canes bloggers back in the day, he's the one that gave us Canes Country, which has now moved on to, Vox and all that kind of stuff. But Bob saw some of the old stuff that we have here in the studio, and he's like, I'm like, please tell me you have a stack. He's like, oh, I got a stack. I unearthed some. So I already put one back on the wall
by Dean Smith, no less.
By Dean Smith. So yeah, I got a stack of old 850 The Buzz bumper stickers with the Canes logo. Tell me it doesn't feel like 2006, Joe.
Stacks on stacks. They get to play the coach who led them to the cup.
I'm excited.
And then Paul Maurice will be waiting for them. And then Draisaitl and McDavid will be waiting in the finals.
Housekeeping.
You're all about these things being written in the stars. You want something, you know what? Terrible transition.
Wait, no, give it to me. Give it to me.
Go ahead.
Give it to me.
Go ahead.
Inovana, they're out at the house today.
Cash in your cabana. Get it clean with Inovana.
The 30 for 30 plan that the obvious.
You're fired up this morning.
You can't hire Inovana because they're too busy.
This is true. Sorry, folks. You have a wait list. Inovana might get to you in July because they're cleaning my house multiple times a day, 7 days a week. How much coffee have you had today? Or is this just tired loopiness? What do you got going on today? I mean, you're literally turning red.
I have a mental bingo card. I don't like it when I step on it either. I like it better when you do it.
It's whatever. Inovana came to the house yesterday. It was yesterday. And they'll be coming out to the house in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, every 2 weeks. Maybe you want the house cleaned every day. You can do that. Inovana's got plans for you.
There's no contract, man. You can pick your own choices.
Do what you want. So
they have an amazing website.
So if you want to be a baller and get your house cleaned every day, I'm sure they can accommodate that. Check them out. ENOVANA.com. Speaking of the raffle, yes, I'll throw in these. These 850 The Buzz bumper stickers.
Perfect.
We've got a bunch of bourbon. We also added a Masters hat.
Yep.
And big shouts to Tim Healy over with the Ice Pack. He texted me yesterday saying, would you like an NC State Ice Pack prize pack?
Yes.
For the raffle? I said,
please.
Abso-freaking-lutely. So I'm going to go pick that up today over at Wake Competition Center. I'm trying to, here we go. So this is all in the prize pack. A jersey.
Ooh.
Like an actual physical jersey, which you can trade out for an own personalized jersey if you want. Frozen Finley ball marker, some golf balls, tees, pint glasses that came from, it's like an ice pack.
Do I have to give the golf balls away?
I'm sure Tim's got golf balls for you, man.
Okay.
And an OG birthday code for tickets to an ice pack game. So we got a little ice pack prize pack. Very excited about that. Very excited about that. But we also have a lot of bourbon. Joe, how can people get in on the raffle?
This is where my computer skills come in. I'm really good at this.
Super good.
There it is. It's my Venmo.
There it is.
If you are watching on the YouTubes, you can see it. If you are listening on your favorite podcast platform, it's my last name, @Giglio, Giglo, Joe, @Giglio Joe. If for one ticket, it's $25. 3 tickets, $50 American dollars. 6 tickets, $100. I actually had someone send us $150. I gave them a free ticket, so I gave them 10.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to give us $200, I'll give you 20 tickets. How about that?
Sure.
One-time offer here on Wednesday. One-time offer on Wednesday. You'll get 20 tickets for $200.
Do you have to put that in there saying, hey,
One-time offer, heard it on
One-time
the
offer?
podcast. Yeah, at Gilio Joe, but also include your phone number. I'm not collecting your numbers and selling them to AT&T, who sent me a letter and was like, "Oh yeah, cool. Hey, by the way, we gave away all your data." And I was like, "Thanks,
Yeah, I got that same.
appreciate it. That's awesome." I know China already has it, so I don't really care. But anyway, the raffle, include your phone number because I will text you. And here's the thing: you do not have to be there on Friday. We want everyone to come and join us.
Yes.
We really do. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun on Friday. I'm playing golf during the day, so hopefully I will be
Pace yourself
slightly.
Joe.
No, I don't drink when I play golf, so that's a good thing. So I think by 6 o'clock, it'll be nice. Okay.
Have a Celsius in between. Get yourself perked up.
No, the coffee is our coffee is for closers, sir.
Okay.
God, I screwed up the parlay yesterday. So come see us, please, at Shady's downtown.
Mhm.
If you are able to. We will have cake, which I'm going to order today. We got beers. We got a food truck from our friends at Breeze Through. We'll have the raffle. So come out and see us. But why you have to include the phone number is if you're not there, we can contact you. And I'm going to repeat myself. At the golf tournament, we gave away 2 really good bottles of bourbon, and both 2 of the 4 we gave away were for people who weren't there. So I was able to find them because they were my friends. But just make sure when you send that when you send your money on Venmo, please include your phone number so I can text you and make sure I can get in contact with you, because it's not if you win, but when you win.
Big thanks to Whitaker and Hamer, because they're the folks at Shady's and they're letting us crash their spot on Friday night. So we appreciate that. We'll have trivia there as well. You mentioned Breeze Through. They're going to have their food truck. Check them out, breezethrough.com. It's Oak City Grill is their food truck. Basic American pub fare. They got burgers. They got some barbecue sandwiches. They got all that fun stuff. Nice base while you drink those High Lifes and various other things at Shady's.
It's a brown liquor kind of night.
Is it going to be a brown liquor night? Ooh, goodness gracious. My goodness. And speaking of no contracts, speaking of OGs who've been around as we've been doing this thing for a year now, big thanks to Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. Check them out, bugsbite.com. You can bundle and save. Mosquito Authority's already come out to my house a couple of times, doing a great job to keep the bugs in check outside, and they can keep the bugs in check inside as it gets warmer and those critters are starting to come in. Moisture is a big culprit of that. So go check them out, bugsbite.com.
I will not get on you for the frequency of Mosquito Authority, Pest Authority, because that's one of the great things of Hayes' service. If you see something, like they could come out, do their normal routine, right? The next day you could be like, hey, I just saw some ants in the outside. I just saw them in the gutter. I just saw them under the deck. I just saw them on the deck. I saw them in a windowsill. Call them. They'll be right back out. So that's all part of their service is great communication with them.
Over to basketball, where we have we have one instance where we know somebody's taking their talents back to Chapel Hill, and then another instance where we don't know where that person's taking their talents to next season.
Okay.
You want to start with RJ Davis?
RJ Davis.
I mean, we understood this. There have been multiple reports that RJ Davis.
I understood this. You were thinking something else was going to happen.
I mean, Brendan Marks at The Athletic and I think we're on the same page, and we talked about this a couple of times. My curiosity with RJ Davis simply came down to, you're old. I mean, how much longer do you want to be in college? I get the money's good, but at some point you do want to leave the campus. I know there are some out there that are going, what are you talking about, Joe? I would never leave campus. I know Gilio is one of them. He wants to go back to that beer-filled womb of college life.
No, I was ready to leave college.
Okay, so everybody gets to that point where they're ready to leave college. That was my only curiosity with RJ Davis.
I wasn't making $1 million though at Technician.
I was making
or KNC.
I was making $450 a month as the general manager at WKNC. A little bit different than $1 million.
That's a lot.
What, back then?
Yeah,
$450 a month. It was good beer money back in the day.
Now I know where all my student fees went because they didn't go to me.
Well,
I got $50 a month.
How much are you making a technician to be a beat writer?
$50. No, I was.
Were you the sports editor?
Oh, come on, man. I was like 9 different things.
The tracks.
And I was at KNC.
But were you the sports editor?
Maybe not the last year. I was like the features editor, I think, the last year.
Oh, okay.
Nobody got paid $450 a month at Technician. I promise you that.
Well, negotiate better next time.
Okay.
Next time you go to college. Negotiate. Next time you go to college, negotiate better with the Student Media Authority. Then you can get a whole $450 a month.
I wasn't making $450 a month at the end of at that time. Were you kidding? $650 an hour.
I was making.
I think I had two shifts a week.
I think my first gig at 850 The Buzz, 50. I was making like $725 an hour or $750 an hour. It was a big deal when I got raised up to $850 an hour working at 850 The Buzz. Yeah,
and you're like, oh,
hey, synergy, right? No, so look, I get that money's a factor, and who you're playing with is a factor. And as we've come to see the roster,
we're talking about RJ Davis.
Yeah,
where were we?
Yeah, RJ Davis. When you see what the UNC roster is starting to look like, I can see where the core group, they need a big, but I'm talking specifically about RJ Davis and why he decided to come back. Money aside, he's playing with some guys he's played with.
Okay.
And I think that, okay, fine, got it. I was always curious about the group that was going to be around him. What's the core going to be? Obviously, you're going to have Elliot Cadeau with you. Who are they putting alongside you?
Trimble's coming back.
So all these things seem to make a little sense.
Jalen Washington.
Clearly, RJ Davis is key to what North Carolina wants to do next year. But you mentioned the other aspect of this. How do you replace Armando Bacot? Because last time I checked, he cannot come back. There's no pull the ripcord, some extra year, super secret NCAA eligibility, Joker card that he can pull, right?
I don't think so.
No, he's good. He's done. All right.
Although I've often wondered if people just cut their hair and came back, like, how would you even know? You know what I mean?
Add a couple more tats.
I think you have to go somewhere else to do that, though.
Maybe.
But like, if Armando Bacot cut his hair and went somewhere, like he went and played at Oregon State next year, would we really know?
No. And if he comes back with the name Fernando Bacon, who's gonna tell?
Right?
I don't know who that is. That is UNC great Fernando Bacon. He's part of the family. Forever a Tar Heel.
Always
a Tar Heel.
For life. I'm sorry. They prefer for life.
So we're starting to get a sense of what these triangle basketball squads are looking like. But I do think the consistency between Carolina and Duke comes down to who's in the middle. That's the question.
Yeah.
And we'll see how that shakes out, because you'll remember, football's got all these portal times too. With basketball, these things can change over the next couple of weeks, but Carolina getting a key ingredient back to their success with RJ Davis, the reigning ACC Player of the Year. Over to the NBA, where Brian Windhorst popped on ESPN Get Up yesterday. And I joked during the lightning round that the true start of the NBA season happens when LeBron James exits and we can start talking about where people are going. The great movement of the offseason. Where's KD going? Who's going to pair up for another big three? Here's Windhorst on ESPN talking about what LeBron James might do now that the Lakers season is over.
I do not think that it will be. However, I do think that LeBron intends to opt out of his contract and become a free agent for the first time since 2018. And I think that will apply a little bit of pressure to the Lakers. I think he's doing it for three reasons. Number one, because I think he wants to see what the Lakers do around the draft. They have potentially 3 first-round picks that they can trade, a couple of contracts that they can package with it to upgrade the team. You remember that they did not make any significant upgrades to this team at the trade deadline. LeBron did not forget that, and I do think he likes to have that pressure on them. Number two, as you may have heard, his son Bronny may be, and I expect to be, in this draft. The Lakers, I think, will keep their draft pick. The New Orleans Pelicans have the option to either take this year's pick or defer to next year. I believe the Pelicans will defer to next year, so I think the Lakers will go into the draft with the 17th overall pick and the 55th overall pick. LeBron has expressed an interest in possibly playing with his son. The Lakers will have potentially 2 chances to draft him. And number 3, I think that there's some features that he can put in a new contract. Number 1, if he opts in, he only gets 1 year and $50 million. He could potentially get multi-years. And also, he does not have a no-trade clause in his contract. There's only one out there in the NBA. It belongs to Bradley Beal. I wouldn't be surprised if he'd like to lock that in as well. So I do think we're going to be hearing some silence from LeBron between now and the end of June as we watch what the Lakers do as a team.
Now, we didn't get silence from LeBron after that Windhorst report. LeBron actually popped on last night on Twitter, and he said, I've heard a lot of reports about my future. I said it last night, and I'll say it again. I do not know yet, as I'm only thinking about spending time with my family and friends. When I know after speaking with the fam, my counsel, as well as my representation about it, then you guys will know. Until then, shush emoji, love the king emoji. So that's from LeBron James.
As if Brian Windhorst didn't get his information from LeBron James.
Yes, exactly. He is the LeBron James whisperer.
Performative.
Very performative, but that's LeBron James. This is why people have a hard time putting their arms around LeBron James, because he comes off very, very inauthentic. Everything is calculated. This dude's thinking 2 or 3 steps ahead with what he wants to do in the future. So this gets to the central question around LeBron James. What does he value in the sunset of his career? Does he value playing with his kid? Like, is that the most important thing to him? That he wants to close out his career with this moment where he's playing with Bronny and there's this some sort of like James legacy handoff. If that's important to him, then I see him staying in LA. He still opts out. He can rework his deal to what they need. Bronny gets drafted, or some other team is wise to draft Bronny, and then they have to make a trade to get him on the team and everything else. And then he wraps up his career in LA with his family around him, playing with Bronny, and that's his career. Or does LeBron James value winning another championship? Does he value winning his 4th championship on a 4th franchise as a potential MVP? Which
5th championship?
I'm sorry,
He won 2.
No, 4th championship with a 4th team.
5th championship with a 4th different team.
I get that. 5 total. I'm talking about 4 different.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
The point being, nobody's ever done it before.
Yeah, no one's been the primary part of a 3 different championships team.
So does he want to go 4? Does he want? Does he want to go to, I don't know, Philadelphia? I know that people are going to obsess over the Knicks and everything else. Does he want to go to Phoenix potentially to stay on the West Coast? I don't know.
I think he'll stay in LA. I think the big move is, what do you make as your second banana?
Mm-hmm.
Which is really, with him and Anthony Davis, it's someone who could come in and really be the primary driver if you're thinking about it in those terms. Because him and AD would be playoff mode. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You keep enough so that you're in this playoff mode. You're not, you get the hell out of the play-in tournament, by the way. Like, that should be one of his first goals.
They can't.
They're
just stuck with that.
So, and I heard him say Bradley Beal, a Windhorst. No, that's not the answer, because he just got completely outclassed in the first round of these playoffs, and he's just a volume guy. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. I was surprised they stood pat this year. I think the Lakers have wasted the years that they've had with LeBron for the most part, either through inertia or an inability to reshape their roster, or maybe even missed steps along the way. I mean, if he had played with Julius Randle and Brandon Ingram, who's to say they don't win it in the bubble?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I look at it and I go, I don't think LeBron will win another championship as the primary piece of a team. I don't think he'll win another one with the Lakers for sure. I do think he wants to play with his son. To this day, we still talk about Ken Griffey and Ken Griffey Jr. And how cool that was for baseball. How cool that was different because the dad was the lesser player.
Yes.
And it was clear the son would be this supernova. Bronny's not a supernova. Bronny has already outperformed almost every other famous person's son other than Gordie Howe. Mm-hmm. Right? Like Gordie Howe's sons were able to come. Another example of someone we talk about to this day.
By the way, it's only going to get worse for Bronny in the NBA.
Sure.
Because you're going to have a whole bunch of people that are going to want to posterize him, make an example.
What I'm getting at is he's not like he's not Larry Bird's cousin. He's not Larry Bird's nephew.
Just say it.
He's not Jordan's kids who played at like Central Florida, but weren't obviously are now banging Scottie Pippen's wife or whatever the hell they're up to. I don't know what that whole dynamic is, but
it's a throuple, I think.
It's really hard.
Is that what it's called?
It's really hard to follow people like that. And so for Bronny to even make it to the NBA is actually a fairly big accomplishment. I'm not saying he could have done it on his own, but
there's a little Nepo baby there.
No, but there's also some very real health issues. Think about the year think about the 2 years Peyton Wilson turned in, and people were like, I don't know. He doesn't have a knee. Bronny's got a serious heart issue.
Like, he's got a heart condition.
Okay.
No, it makes total sense. If that's the case, if LeBron James's goal is to play with his kid, then he's not leaving LA. Straight up.
That's what I think.
If his goal is to win another championship, he gets out of the Western Conference.
That would be smart. Yes.
He has to get out of the Western Conference. The Western Conference is not dying down anytime soon. The West is wild for real.
Not with OKC and Denver and Minnesota
coming up.
And Ant-Man on the way he's going to be coming.
So that's the central question. I don't have the answer to. Only LeBron James knows this, but obviously it'll tell you what he values the most. Stay in LA, you play with your family, you play with your kid, you're good to go, you sunset out. You want to win one more title? You want to do it with a fourth organization, which has never been done before in professional sports? I think it's happened in hockey. I think it's happened in hockey with 3, similar to LeBron James. I don't think it's ever happened 4 times. But I have to go back and look that one up. Regardless, if he wants to win another title, he's in New York. He's in Philly. He's not out in the West. But we'll see. Something to keep an eye on. Folks, the single game parlays we lose as officially branded single game parlays are the friends we make along the way. But let me put it another way. If I told you that every time Giglio builds a single game parlay for the Hurricanes and you put $5 down because you're part of the Ovia's $5 gang and you lose the $5 because it doesn't hit, but the Canes win, isn't that really what it's all about? Because do the math. What are we talking about here? $80 for a Stanley Cup?
Oh, what we've lost?
Yeah. Like if I just put $5 down.
Well, we're minus 10 right now.
Okay.
Then. Yeah.
We're talking what? $70, $80 for a Stanley Cup? I'll take it.
And it's almost like
I will take it.
Prefer to lose that way last night where it was over in the first like 3 minutes.
You
But
were so mad. I was listening to the After Dark on the way in, and I believe you told Varlamov to eat a bag of dicks.
beat or eat?
No,
yeah,
eat. Yeah, eat a bag of dicks.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't tell him to go shuck a cock.
Chuck.
Or chuck a cock.
Yes.
Shuck. Shuck can be painful. But anyway, just saying. Anyway,
Whew.
you, sir, were mad. You were mad on Prestro last night.
Because I had so many other parts of it.
I know.
You know
It
what I
was
mean?
done in 3 minutes.
But I had
It was done in 3 minutes.
Plus, I guess speaking of being performative, like I think DraftKings is like, yeah, keep
it coming.
Keep those losers coming.
Keep
please.
it coming. Oh, we had
There's
about
a sucker board every day.
We had
sir.
about 1,000 people put $5 down. Keep it coming. Let's go. Use the promo code OG2024 when you sign up for
You
DraftKings
want
today.
to follow this jabroni? Yeah.
Now, well, speaking of jabronis,
let's
hey,
back him.
who's the jabroni? Who's the jabroni? You are. You were talking about snooker before we got recording today.
Snooker live line. Let me check. I don't know why it was taking so long. Don't get me excited.
Anyway, while you look up your snooker live line, let me tell you about DraftKings as the chase for the cup is on. I'm trying to light the lamp on these single game parlays, and all throughout this, all for North Carolina customers only, you can place a pregame moneyline bet on Carolina, and if they lead by at least 2 goals at any time in the game, you win, even if they end up losing. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use that promo code OG24. New customers bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's code OG24 only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. Let me finish this. 21 plus, North Carolina only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. 1 early win per opted-in customer. Max bets limits apply. Token expires at the start of the game. See dkng.co/ice for wagering eligibility and terms. Did you find your live line?
I did. Is there a rain delay in snooker? Are they playing outside?
I don't know.
It's the World Championship.
I do not know.
I have Kyron Wilson. It's been 9-7 for like an hour now.
Oh boy. Maybe it's a long replay delay.
Is it cricket? Am I not understanding what snooker? Isn't snooker the pool with the bumpers on the table?
Yeah.
I wonder if there was like a flood in the facility.
We'll have to get an update later. So we got a question from a listener regarding polos
and shirts.
And while we have shirts, OG shirts, they were wondering if we'd ever come out with an OG Media polo. Would we ever put the little OG flag on a polo? Could we get Roback to do a one-off? Just a thought. You want me to you want me to wear a polo? You want me to wear a polo? Ooh, that's the one. I'm surprised you haven't asked for a big yellow pad polo. Just yellow with little blue lines across it. Right? Put that on there? Just a thought.
I do know this.
Yes.
Roback has the most comfortable golf shirts on the planet. I do know this. their golf hoodies are even more comfortable. So do yourself a favor. rhoback.com. Use that promo code OG20. Save 20%. You will thank me later.
Big thanks to Two Roosters for sponsoring Ovies and Gilio. Check them out, tworoosters.com. Our corporate champions bring the heat all the time when it comes to ice cream. They got the location at PNC Arena. Jacob was all about getting some Two Roosters last night in between periods, so he's happy with the Stormy Tracks. You can go to the website, check out their various flavors at their various locations, or you can just pick up some pre-celebratory pints of ice cream, put it in your cooler, and when the Canes win, you can crack that bad boy open in the parking lot while you wait for traffic to clear out. Just offering suggestions. So head on over to tworoosters.com. Also, big thanks to Longleaf. We talk about tailgating all the time. Sometimes you got to make that thing simple. You can go to longleafswine.com and you can order your tailgate spread, pick it up on your way to PNC Arena. Super, super simple. Just go to longleafswine.com. Just order all the barbecue brisket you want. The sides are absolutely fantastic. Maybe you're going to a tailgate where they're asking you to bring something. Cheat like I do. Just get the pimento cheese. Bring the oyster crackers. All that fun stuff. They've got it at Longleaf. So check them out online at longleafswine.com. You've heard us mention this on the podcast. We got the FC series coming to Keenan again. They were here last year with Chelsea and Wrexham. Tickets are available right now for the FC series at fcseries.com. This year, it's Man City and Celtic, and helping us talk about that is Jamie Watson, former Carolina guy, a Wilmington guy. Now you'll see him on TV, Apple, Fox, and you're part of this lead up to the July 23rd event. Jamie, thanks for hanging out in studio with us.
I'm so happy to be here. Great setup. This is awesome. Big fan. So thank you for allowing me to come in and talk about this exciting matchup coming up this summer.
All right. So I'm going to go soccer casual on you.
Perfect.
I'm very familiar with Man City.
Yes.
I see my Twitter timeline light up when Man City does something, all caps, whatever it is. Celtic, I'm going to be completely upfront. If you told me Celtic was a football club, I would have gone, were they on Ted Lasso? But this is a legit squad that's won a bunch in their league. So tell me a little bit more about Celtic for those who might not know who they're coming to see play Man City.
So Celtic is in the Scottish Premier League, and they have, I believe, 53 titles to their name.
Okay.
They are a historic club. They are really dominant in the region, and they have this incredible following worldwide. And this is a unique opportunity because Celtic actually hasn't been to the United States in 14 years.
Oh, okay.
So now they're going to be coming over this summer with the FC series games, and we will get a chance to see them on Tuesday, July 23rd, take on the aforementioned Manchester City. And so this is an incredible opportunity and sort of a rarity to be able to see Celtic in the United States. They do have a U.S. international that's playing there, Cameron Carter-Vickers. He's a stud with the U.S. men's national team. He's playing over there, dominating as well. They're leading the Scottish Premier League Championship again. So they are looking to have another championship and another trophy in the cabinet as well. And I am so excited to see them because I think that fans will fall in love with their history. And the more they get to know the story of Celtic, if you don't know already and you do find out, you're going to be enamored with just how much comes with this club. And it was a real pleasure to get to spend some time with Roy Aitken, who was one of the legends just a couple of weeks ago, and hearing some of the stories about some of the famed matches that they had along the way. So I'm really excited for two incredible European powerhouses to be here Tuesday, July 23rd at Kenan Stadium. And that's where I'll be on Tuesday, July 23rd.
It's interesting you bring up the stories aspect of this. And I guess that's the draw that would pique my curiosity with soccer. It's very anti-American sports, right? I mean, we saw this with Wrexham. And
incredible story with them.
Television put that front and center for people who might not be familiar. It helps that you've got two celebrities that are behind it. But it's almost like American sports fans have this realization. I'm like, wait a minute. You can invest in your club. Your city gets behind you. You win, and you're rewarded beyond just a trophy. You actually get to you move up, right? There's relegation, everything else. It's something that, and again, with these stories with Celtic or with Man City, there's the tie to the city is almost college-like how people gravitate towards the Tar Heels, how people gravitate towards NC State, but it's on a professional level. What is that uniqueness about soccer?
Well, I think when you talk about Celtic, because we'll stay on with them before we switch over to Manchester City. Sure. Celtic is one of 5 clubs that have over 100 trophies in their history. I mean, their history is so rich, but that storytelling, right, maybe hasn't hasn't been what it maybe should be in the United States, but now it's finally getting there. And there's several different angles you could go with that. You could say, well, what's it been lately? Well, they're sitting at the top of the Scottish Premier League right now, and they could be adding to the over 100 plus trophies they already have.
Right.
They now have the American that is playing over there. So now players can go, wait, I watched the U.S. men's national team play, and then I see a game with Celtic, and there's Cameron Carter-Vickers again, right? So I think you're starting to see more and more fans pay attention to it, and coming over here, I think they understand how important it is and just how the growth of soccer in the United States is at this rapid level, just on this rocket-fueled acceleration to the 2026 World Cup. Now you get to see the biggest team in Scotland, and then if we switch it over to Manchester City, I would argue to say that Manchester City is the best team in the world right now. From top to bottom, the stars that they have, the depth that they have, the manager that they have. This is one of the marquee matchups. And it's so incredible that it'll be at the school that my dorm room looked out, and at the stadium at Keenan Stadium.
Which dorm?
I was at Carmichael.
Oh, okay.
So my Carmichael dorm overlooked the soccer field and Keenan Stadium right there.
I am familiar with that dorm because that's where my wife.
Is that right? What a small world.
That's the dorm she was in.
There we go. Everything comes full circle.
Yes.
20 years later from when I was there, I just dated myself.
Oh, I'm way older than you, so don't even sweat it. All right. So when like last year and with these particular friendlies, what kind of team can fans expect when they go to Keenan on July 23rd?
I love this question, right?
Okay.
Because there's always this worry of like, oh, who's going to be there and what's it going to be like, because it's a matchup in the summertime and stuff. I find it crazy to me that people would think that the best players on the best team in the world are going to do anything less than put out their 100% effort, because these are players that are fighting with other best players from other countries around the world for playing time. These games are so important for the players because they can make or break their standing with the coach. It's right in the middle of the summertime, so there could be transfers coming in, outgoing. You could get loaned out. You can find playing time. You could lose playing time based on these. So you've got the world's best players from around the world on one team in Manchester City, fighting like you know what for playing time, for a stake in that team, to be a part of the most coveted 11 in the United States, or in the world, excuse me, coming right here to the United States to play in this matchup against Celtic, who they have the pick of the litter with players as well too, with the scouting network they have, with the record that they have, the history that they have. Everybody in the world, soccer-wise, wants to play for these two teams. I played for 12 years professionally, and I would have played for free to be able to play on the team, right? And I guarantee you there's millions of other soccer players around the world professionally that would say the same thing. So you're going to be able to see some of the biggest stars in the world that'll be here playing. You know, obviously there's so much that could happen from now until then, injuries-wise, transfers-wise, everything. So I don't know exactly which players will be on the field that day.
Yeah.
But I mean, you've got the likes of Erling Haaland, one of the best strikers in the world, Kevin De Bruyne, who's one of the best midfielders in the world, Pep Guardiola, one of the best managers in the world. So seemingly, as we sit here today, the expectation would be that those types of people would be here.
Also, there's the spectacle of it. I know it was sold out last year, and I know that American fans try to replicate what they see on television at 6 o'clock in the morning when they're watching the EPL, right? You've got, it might be July. It's July in North Carolina. It doesn't matter. I'm sure I will see scarves.
Yes, absolutely.
For this particular
part
thing,
of the soccer culture.
It's all part of that culture. You try to replicate it. There's the walk up, there's the chants, there's all the other things going on. At the very least, you're there to have an experience beyond what's going on the field. And that's something that, for lack of a better term, a ticket to Keenan, my guess is it's not going to cost as much to go overseas.
Flying to Scotland or to Manchester, watch these two teams play. And what I love about FC Series and what they're doing with this, and we saw this last year where I believe it was about $150,000 was raised to UNC Children's Hospital. They're going to have proceeds going again to UNC Children's Hospital because it's this incredibly important initiative that I think FC Series has taken on, is that they want to make sure that they have a lasting impact as well in the markets that they're in. So not only will memories be made and you'll get to see two of the biggest teams in the world right here, and you don't have to fly halfway around the world to see them play. Yeah. It's going to last beyond that. So I've been to these summer matches before, and as a dad now, I'm in the position where I'm going to want to bring my children there. And that is at the moment where they fall in love with the game at a different level and say, this is what I want to do. I remember my parents taking me to games, and then that sparked an interest in me in the summer, I think, of 1996. And then I was fortunate enough to fall in love with the game there and want to go on and play professionally. And it's basically given me my whole life, right? 20 years of professional sports to share with me, with playing and now doing the commentating and stuff. who's to say there isn't a young boy or a young girl that goes to that match on July 23rd, that Tuesday night in the summer at Kenan Stadium, and they fall in love with the game, right? It could happen for countless numbers of people. And whether they go play professional or they end up falling into a path where they support local grassroots initiatives and they are involved with the game somehow. There's so much more to this game that we'll find as a lasting impact. And I think that's what's so cool. It's an incredible memory on July 23rd, but it's also going to have this lasting impact that we may never know, Joe, the full depth of it, which is really, really cool to think of.
And if you squint hard enough, there are certain areas on Franklin Street almost look European.
Yes,
almost.
yes.
And
after a few beverages of your choice, it'll be great to walk right there. It's all right there on Franklin Street.
He's Not is a beer garden.
That's my go-to spot.
All right.
Did I spend too much time there? Probably. But will I spend too much time there before the game or after the game? Probably.
You always need to take home a blue cup.
Absolutely.
That's always my rule on this. All right. You talk about the growth of the game, and I did want to. I'm with you. It's about the experience and hooking somebody that's younger, and it inspires them, and off they go. There's their story, much like yours. But then there's also there's a sports talk element to this. And as you've covered some MLS, I mean, the big story of MLS is Messi.
Yes.
Okay. And I get it. I mean, you have an opportunity to have one of the greats to ever do it, if not the best to ever do it, play in your league.
Yes.
And it becomes kind of like a traveling road show, and he sells out everywhere he goes. It's good for business. But I had a thought that I don't know if it's ultimately good for MLS, in that once Messi is gone, what do you have to show for it? What is the goal of bringing Messi, other than, I mean, obviously you have eyeballs on it now, but what happens when he goes? Who is the next person up that actually will then draw the attention of, like, okay, you enjoyed Messi, but have you seen this guy that you might not have heard of before that now you can get behind? What is the effect on MLS after he's done?
Yeah, and that's a good question, because one, I don't think we know when he will be done, right? Because there's no idea as to, he's, knock on wood, because God knows I don't want to be the one to jinx it.
There's no
health-wise, he's been great.
There's no reason for him to go. He crushed it.
He's still playing at a supernatural level, right? And so what I get encouraged about with this is I think that's a legitimate question, but I think what maybe the real story is, in this time period that he's putting more and more eyeballs on Major League Soccer than there's ever been with this TV deal with Apple TV. You can see it in over 100 countries globally. There's more people going. He just put over 72,000 into Arrowhead Stadium with Sporting Kansas City. It was a thrilling 3-2 victory. How many people from now until when X being the date that Messi is no longer playing in Major League Soccer, which you and I don't know, and also the 2026 World Cup coming to the United States, Canada, and Mexico, how many more eyeballs will be on there? And then you have that opportunity to grab those maybe new fans or casual fans or fans that said, hey, I want to check this out. I want to see where it goes.
Yeah.
Right. That's when it's on the teams. And I think everybody realizes that this generational shift that's continuing to happen, where my parents didn't play soccer, but I played soccer all my life. Now I'm taking my kids. They're going to be growing up. They'll be in the MLS academies. There'll hopefully be more MLS teams along the way and everything. It's slowly happening. And that's where these matchups, like the one with Manchester City and Celtic on July 23rd, are important, because that also adds into the Messi mania. That adds into the growth of the World Cup. These important high-level matches that are played in the summertime, all of these are catalysts for that growth. And it's just one after another after another. So Messi is not the only thing. He is the straw that stirs the drink, for sure.
Sure.
In any league, anywhere he goes in the world, he's whoever your favorite player is that's watching this or listening to this. I promise you, Messi is their favorite player, right? That's the level of status that he has.
Right.
So with that, there's going to be multiple things, but just as much as Messi is important, the same as the World Cup is important, same as having teams like Manchester City and Celtic come over and play these matchups in the summer and put over 50,000 people into the stadium. All of these are going to be important. So it doesn't just fall on his shoulders. I think there's so much more than just him. This league was sustainable and soccer was growing at a rapid rate before him. And I think it will continue to go after him.
It's interesting. And we can wrap on this, because it ties back to what we're going to see on July 23rd at Kenan. And you can get your tickets at fcseries.com. I'm looking at the talking points. Celtic was founded back in 1887.
Just the other day, huh?
Yeah, like not that long ago. It was Man City, 1894. Right?
It's crazy, right?
Okay. How old is MLS?
MLS started in 1996.
Yeah. So these are stories built up over time. It's not all that different than, I mean, even in the grand scheme of things, we're not that far removed from NBA games being on tape delay.
Remember that?
Back in the playoffs. And then here, locally speaking, the Carolina Hurricanes needed continued sustained success, not a 10-year drought of not making the playoffs, but what we've seen in the last 5 to 6 years has brought people back. It's a Stanley Cup winning team. It has a culture, but it needs sustained winning and people growing up around it, things like that. So do we kind of, do casuals like me, are we a little bit too dismissive when we talk about the MLS in not thinking this is a young entity that hasn't had his time to establish a couple of generations of people getting behind whatever team it is that they're trying to get behind.
Right.
Like there's got to be a Charlotte FC person, a kid, a toddler, a kindergartner that gets to go to these soccer games. That's going to grow up liking that. And then that just kind of gets to the next thing. Again, you can't compete with 18.
No, you can't. But hey, I would challenge anybody, right? Go to the match on July 23rd. If you're on the fence about it, fcseries.com, as you mentioned, to get the tickets. Yeah. I think that you will get swept up in the experience. The supporter culture, the vibes, the atmosphere around it, outside the stadium, inside the stadium. It is something that will potentially be a core memory for some that go there and something you hold on to. And I'm really excited to see that because I know that I'll get to enjoy that with my children, but also if, let's say they get a summer camp invite and they don't want to go, well, then I'm going to call a bunch of my buddies that went to UNC and we're going to go and we're going to have a great time together as well. So it kind of caters to whichever one you want to. But again, July 23rd, Tuesday night, it should be an awesome match between Manchester City and Celtic.
Again, go to fcseries.com and a reminder that event proceeds go to UNC's Children's Hospital. They donated over $150,000 after last year's event. Let's go ahead and do that again. Jamie, thanks for hanging out, man. Good conversation.
Joe, thank you so much for having me. I'd love to come back in the future.
Anytime. Big thanks to Nature's Relief Hemp Store. Locations across the triangle. New location on Western Boulevard. We are going to be there on May 16th. For an OG Live. That'll be a lot of fun.
I was going to say the calendar has officially been flipped because Justin Timberlake. It's going to be me.
I'm going to have to go get the cat calendar at some point.
So yes, as I can see, 516 Nature's Relief, Western Boulevard. We will have Sleek Fleet OG Live from there. Jennifer is making a little sojourn. We will not see her at the OG birthday bash.
Okay.
She's going out to Arizona.
Yeah.
I told her, make sure you get the famous Arizona cuisine.
Yes.
Lou Malnati's and the Del Taco. She was like, yeah, absolutely. She was like, thank you for the food, Rex.
Yeah. There, no trip out to Arizona is complete without a Del Taco trip. But that's neither here nor there. I'm thinking for the May 16th show while we're at Nature's Relief on Western Boulevard, I'm just going to drink the 5 Flower sodas.
Okay.
The seltzers.
Let's do it.
Just in the middle of the show and see how I'm feeling by the end of it.
Oh, so you got to be careful.
Check them out. Nature's Relief Hempstore.com. That's relief, RELEAF, hempstore.com. Big thanks to Matt Davis over at State Farm. Save money on home and auto. Go to insuregarner.com. Call directly at 919-779-8277. You can go to the OGinsurance.com as well. Matt Davis has been helping our listeners save money, not just in the G. You contact them, State Farm, and Matt Davis, that office, an actual person on the other end of that phone when you called 919-779-8277. Did you see Matt at the game last night?
I did. Saw Matt and his mom.
Nice.
At the game last night.
Love that.
He's got some nice tickets.
Does he?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, takes care of you, takes care of himself.
And I'm playing some golf with Matt on Friday, and he'll be at the OG birthday bash. He's in charge of keeping me
in check.
Yes, he can keep your insurance costs in check too. So
got it. All right.
Go check him out. For real. Have a conversation, figure out ways that you can save money. I know he can do that for you.
Joe,
sir,
do you know what time it is?
Oh, it's the people have spoken.
The people love the lightning round.
It's just so fast. How do you keep up?
Stop it.
It's funny as we do lightning round, I'll still listen to national sports talk, and it's just funny. Like they have every variation of the lightning round. I was like last night I was listening to something on my drive back, and they were like, "What's the 411?" And it was like the same concept, just real quick topics with sound effects and all.
Oh, you invented this?
No. The lightning round is. Wait till we break out a hotline.
Ooh.
It's not the Weiner line.
It's a hotline.
Oh, I forgot to get you a curtain.
Oh, that
Bradley wants a curtain.
That's right.
Bradley
He
wants
a curtain.
Bradley wants to gin this thing up a little bit.
All right. Let's get to the lightning round here. NBA TV deal is getting spicy, Joe.
Okay.
And I think my guy, TV Grim Reaper, I have no idea who this dude is. He's one of these TV insiders, and he always has like the most cold-blooded takes on the state of the industry. And this was from Sports Media Watch that Comcast, NBC, is going to offer massive rights fees in a bid to steal the NBA from TNT, from Warner Brothers Discovery, per Wall Street Journal. Comcast and Disney deals with themselves add up to $5 billion a year per a report. Real quick aside on the NBC aspect of this. Apparently, John Tesh reportedly said, hey, man, all NBC's got to do is give me a call, and I will bring round ball rock back.
No, I don't want John Tesh. I want Ted Lasso doing it with basketball, dribble and score. Basketball.
Hold on a second, because Brian, my guy over at Nice Price, he had actually workshopped this. Let me put it up to the phone here. Maybe. Just a thought. We can always do that. The little Tecmo round ball rock. I think he had also come up with some other. He had come up with another one. Anyway,
minute by minute.
So TV Grim Reaper said this in a tweet, and I agree with it. The last hurrah of the cable bundle dependent networks over big sports rights is more interesting than I expected, as their survival is imperative. It's to drive up these bids. Their survival is based on the sports. And funny thing happened on Wall Street related to NBC Universal, Comcast, and what happened with Warner Brothers Discovery. Both were in the news related to the NBA television rights, and both of them saw their stock prices drop.
Okay.
Because we're in this weird point in the landscape where if you don't bid on sports rights, like, well, what's wrong with you? Ooh, something must be wrong with you. Your position as a media company, if you don't have the money, if you don't have two nickels to rub together to pay for the NBA, which is not the NFL in terms of value, well, what's wrong with you? So investors are like, oh, no, something's wrong with Warner Brothers Discovery if they want on the NBA. But then NBC Universal dropped because people are going, well, that's stupid. You're already losing a shit ton of money on Peacock. Now you want to drop billions of dollars on the NBA, a property that most people don't view as a valuable property. It doesn't get NFL ratings. Heck, you could even do XYZ. Sell! And then their stocks dropped. So we're in this really weird spot when it comes to television rights. But here's why this is valuable. And this is why it'll get me to the ACC in a second. So follow me here. You'll remember that Disney, Fox, and Warner Brothers Discovery want to launch this sports streaming service, as John Orrand has called it, Spooloo, Sports Hulu.
Sounds dirty.
It does sound dirty. You got to pay extra for that. Now, if Warner Brothers does not have the TNT basketball package with that Inside the NBA crew, then what the hell is the point of the streaming bundle at that point? It loses value. I need sports on my sports bundle, y'all. You can't let NBC take it because NBC is not going to be part of the sports bundle. So somebody's going to overpay for the NBA.
It's a good position for the NBA to be in.
Which gets me to the ACC and gets back to something that I have been floating, discussing, workshopping, and I think it's becoming even more abundantly clear that if the presidents, I'm not going to put this on the commissioner. I'm not going to put this on the commissioner. I'm not going to put it on John Swofford. I'm not going to put it on Jim Phillips. One of the more powerful presidents that actually has sway should have corralled some folks and tried to argue with them. Look, you don't like the TV deal? You don't like how your money's working? It's not about incentives and trying to squeeze dry what we have left in this television contract that supposedly goes till 2036. If you knew that there was an opt-out from ESPN coming up in 26-27.
Which I told was common knowledge.
They say it was common knowledge. Okay, fine. If that was common knowledge and you look at the landscape, don't focus on the Pac-12 and what happened with them. That was bad leadership. That was the market telling the Pac-12, man, we don't think you're that valuable. But the ACC actually does have value. Say whatever you want about Florida State and their whining. Say whatever you want about Clemson. Say whatever you want about Miami.
The ACC with those teams has value.
Has value on the East Coast, in the South, with football teams, okay? And a basketball package that also still matters thanks to Duke and Carolina. There are brands in the ACC. Otherwise, people wouldn't be obsessing over who's going to go where in this next round.
Did you just like yada yada, the ACC champions right there.
And NC State.
Thank you.
All that is to say that if you could go back and see how this was going, you should maybe have welcomed opting out of the contract in 26-27 and taking your rights to market if you see how this is playing out with the NBA. Just a thought. Just a thought.
I will retort to that. Just no one, which I found interesting, or at least it was told to us. The reason the playoff wasn't splintered off Big Ten style, TV package wise, was because ESPN was the only serious player.
Yeah.
I find that hard to believe when you're sitting here saying, what is the next closest thing ratings wise to the NFL?
Be the college football playoff.
College football. Now, here's my actual question for you.
Okay.
As we saw with March Madness, is it the sport or is it the time slot? Because we saw the women's games have success in that Sunday late window, which is where the NFL feasts.
Mm-hmm.
We saw the State Duke men's game have big numbers in that window.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing whatever the highest rated NBA game will be in that window. They're obviously not happy not to have LeBron be available in that window.
I think the time slot is oversimplification. I think what you're getting at is what people want and why the NFL is equipped to succeed and why the college football playoff has value, why the NCAA tournament has value, why the women's tournament was undervalued. We've gotten to the point where people need events. This is why, to your point, you should argue more for expansion of the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about time slot. It's about creating an event.
I think
that's what people want.
But I think that particular time slot, think about it. Sunday, you're done mowing the lawn, you're done whatever. People are home, man.
Yeah, man, people are home.
I'm not saying you could put my snooker on, although the World Championship, I still don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
A flooding incident in the snooker live line. I'm not saying you can just put snooker on and people are gonna be into it. But how far are we removed from the poker boom of the aughts?
Oh, geez.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
that was a thing.
I don't know. It'll be interesting. My retort to you about this bidding in college football in the ACC is that if the playoff didn't generate multiple bids, I would be concerned if I was the guy at Wake or the guy at Pitt or
that is fair. That is fair.
Who are all like, gripping and scraping and clawing for every penny they can get.
But I would argue you would still see an increase in value. Maybe you get a cost of living increase to get you a little bit more in line with where things are going.
We also have a settlement coming.
They're never going to catch the Big Ten and the SEC. That's not what I'm getting at. But you could have gotten a little bit more money.
Well, let's see what happens with this House versus the NCAA.
Yeah, that's true too.
Because there's a settlement looming.
That's true too.
All right, one more lightning round.
I was so quick.
Item.
So quick.
Oh, this is Mr. Quick.
Oh, the lightning round is so quick. One more thing.
Speed.
I am speed.
What do you have?
The Lightning, the Panthers, and the Lightning.
What's your one more thing?
No.
Oh, that was it? Oh, okay.
Thunder. What's he talking about thunder? Because thunder always comes after lightning. Kapow!
All right, last lightning round item.
You like it when guys curse.
I do.
You like to curse.
I do.
Here's Chris Ballard. He's the general manager of the Indianapolis Colts. He was not happy about some of the off-the-field concerns for one of their draft picks, so he decided to put the people on blast.
I don't know. I mean, I read some of the bullshit that was said on TV. I mean, just the typical fucking, excuse my language, our typical league, unnamed sources, bad interview. That's such bullshit. I mean, it fucking is. It's bullshit. Like, put your name on it. I'm tired of, we tear these young men down. These are 21, 22 young men. And if people out there can tell me they're perfect in their lives, it's crap. It's crap. This is a good kid. And, for those reports to come out, like, I said it last year, it's bullshit. I'm sorry. I apologize for the language.
Go back to the beginning because like I can't tell if he's
I already
like
closed it out.
I can't tell if he's apologizing for swearing and then he's just like, fuck it, I'll just keep swearing.
No, he you could tell he legitimately felt bad, and then he's just like, well, I already let it out.
Already here.
I already let it out. So it is what it is. I'm just gonna keep this thing moving.
I enjoyed that.
I apologize for the language.
Big thanks to Hometown Realty. You want to sell your home with confidence? You want to buy a home with confidence? The last thing you want to do is start to engage and try to get this house that you fall in love, because you know how it is. You start looking for the house and you find the one. You want this house. You want to make offers. You want to make bids with confidence. And that's where Hometown Realty can help you out.
Oh, sorry. Your bid disappeared. We had somebody come in at the 11th. Oh, no, that's not really the price. Don't play any of those games. Go with the experts. Go with Hometown Realty. MyHDR.com. Buy and sell with confidence.
Big thanks to Butcher's Market for sponsoring Ovies and Gilio. We are going to be out there when they have like their grand reopening.
Yeah.
Once Lake Boone is done, I'm going to get my French dip finally.
I went to the Starbucks in that epicenter area there yesterday, and I noticed the construction is complete. And
love it.
There's some awning because they have another area that's behind the store that they will open up. So I'm excited for the Butcher's Market. They have great stuff there, and the steak and cheese is still undefeated.
And don't sleep on the fact that you can actually buy beer at the Butcher's Market. And do you know what you can buy at the Butcher's Market?
Oh, tell me.
Crank arm. Let's get to Hey Joe. Yes, Hey Joe is sponsored once again. Big thanks to Crank Arm Brewing in downtown Raleigh. Check them out online at crankarmbrewing.com. This Sunday, they have a Cinco de Mayo fiesta. They're going to have friendly tacos serving up their creations. They're going to have DJ Jefa con Queso spinning a playlist with hot Latin vibes, as they were describing it to me. And they're going to have a margarita madness. You can choose
a cow with cheese?
Jefa.
No,
Jefa.
Jefa.
Jefa con queso.
What's a Jefa?
You know, a lady.
Oh,
so
okay.
You can, and they have tequila. They have Patrita there, and they're gonna have a representative on hand to guide you through a sampling of tequilas. And the thing about this tequila, which is very, very crucial, it's one of these tequilas without the additives.
Okay,
this is very, very hot in the market right now. There are certain tequilas that people enjoy, but they're not realizing just how many additives are in that. This is some pure good stuff. So check out crankarmbrewing.com for more details. Again, that's happening.
What I hear you saying is they have more than beer.
They do.
That's what I'm hearing you say.
That would be correct. That would be correct.
What I'm also hearing you say is they have an unbelievable space downtown.
They do, which kicked off your 40th party.
Gosh, that was so long.
9 years ago. Let's go to the YouTube comments from David. I got 2 from Davis. NHL Radio used Gilio's question from Kuzi on the broadcast this morning. So there you go.
Look at that.
And
that Riz up,
and Dundon better apologize to you for apparently calling you fat last night.
It's fine.
I mean,
Truth hurts, man.
Was it said in jest? I mean, I had a guy talking about camera angles and how I'm like rocking the beer gut.
No, I'm telling you,
it was me.
2 different people called me you yesterday.
Oh,
on the concourse.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like the commissioners ever confused me for you. But anyway, this is from John Henry on the YouTube comments. I believe a 96-team NCAA tournament field would be terrible. It would make the regular season pretty much meaningless, although you can make the argument it already is. I can go up to 72, but no more than that. I'll give you 72.
I will give you 72, sir.
No more, sir.
I get it. Like people are like, oh, it's perfect, blah, 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 blah. And I'm not trying to dismiss what he's trying to say.
Sure.
What I'm getting at it, we have these gatekeepers, like after the Oakland had beaten Kentucky, it's like, don't you dare change this format. It's perfect. And it's like, no, there's 360 teams now. This isn't John Wooden winning a 16-team field. Yeah. Remember, it was 16, then it went to 24, then it was 32, then it was 48, and then it was 64, and now it's 68. All along the way now with the portal, literally, you have guys transferring from Loyola of Maryland and being the leading scorer for the national champion. So you can't sit here and tell me that there's this huge difference in talent discrepancies. There's not.
No.
There is just not. And by expanding the tournament, but 96, I think, expands it by 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
If my math is right.
Yeah, I think it's 2 weeks.
Give me a break, guys.
It's fine. More basketball.
There is no value to the regular season, period.
At all. That's why it gets back to what we were talking about in the lightning round with the television contract. And what is the feature? Well, the feature is the event.
Yes.
The event is the
make
thing.
The event longer.
Exactly. Let's see. This is from Twitter. This is from Kelly Fitzgerald. The day that Ovius passes and they do an autopsy, I am convinced that with all the stuff he has put into his body in the last year, it's going to look like this GIF from The Simpsons, where it's just a bunch of germs and various other things stuffed through a door. And I think the reason why he's referencing that is I went ahead and I did some pregame science with a friend of the show, Serena. Serena had a bottle of White Zin, $4 Chuck now. It's $4.50 for the Charles Shaw. And she filled up the entire beer stick with most of the bottle.
Wow.
Most of the bottle of the Charles Shaw. It looked like watered down Kool-Aid.
No, you didn't.
Oh, I did. She polished off the bottle and then she handed me the beer stick and I saw without bubbles, because bubbles usually give me a problem.
How are you functioning right now?
So I decided to go ahead, and I was encouraged by the tailgaters outside PNC Arena as I was trying to chug this entire beer stick of wine. But then I got an air bubble late and I could not complete the task. I really tried. I did my damnedest. I almost got the full beer stick down, but I just couldn't do it anymore. So, and here I am.
And you didn't do the sloppy drizzle.
No.
You could have.
I
You could have gotten away with it. That's the difference between 45-year-old Joe and 35-year-old Joe.
You're right.
You would have went sloppy drizzle.
And the other difference, too, is that I know myself. So what did I do when I got up to the 5th floor of PNC Arena?
You hydrated and had some Chex Mix.
I pounded water like you wouldn't believe. And yes, Chex Mix was key.
I would be dead right now.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yep.
That's going to wrap it up for today's show. We'll see you for an OG Live brought to you by Sleek Fleet on Thursday. Let's go.